Millions of older women download legacy preservation apps, hold their tablets, and do exactly this. They hesitate, then turn the screen off. This abandonment isn't the result of a software glitch or a confusing interface. These women care deeply about the memories they'll leave behind. The legacy industry spent years building extraordinary digital vaults to store life stories, yet it failed to prepare the user emotionally to actually speak into the microphone. A woman cannot preserve her life story if she has been conditioned by society to believe she is invisible. Handing her a polished application does nothing to address that internal barrier. Kathy Tarochione understands this invisibility firsthand. At 79 years old, living alone and tethered to an oxygen tank, her doctors told her it was time to get her affairs in order. She was surrounded by sophisticated clinical technology. The sensors in her room could read a slight dip in her oxygen saturation at 3 in the morning, but the system had no way to give her a reason to wake up at 7. When hospital-at-home admissions fail, the cause is rarely a sudden biological crash. It is more often a caregiver's panic in the middle of the night, or the patient's own loss of will. This chart highlights the gap where clinical observation ends and patient isolation begins. While the system watches what happens, it misses the extreme isolation and loss of purpose happening in the home. Machines are capable of keeping a body alive, but they cannot manufacture the desire to keep living. Healthcare and legacy executives are attempting to solve a profound emotional crisis using only clinical and technical tools. These platforms fail because of 3 specific emotional bugs. The first is belief. Decades of being overlooked lead a woman to believe that her survival and her story simply do not matter enough to preserve. The second is readiness. When an app prompts an 80-year-old user to tell her story, it asks her to organize decades of complex memories with no framework. Without preparation, she freezes. Then there is fear. Sharing deep personal memories requires a level of vulnerability that these women have rarely been encouraged to practice. No amount of app development can overcome a user's lack of emotional readiness. Kathy refused to disappear. She developed a strength mirror practice, standing in front of her glass to confront her reality and forcing her mind to take control of her recovery. Her clinical data suggested one outcome. The profile on the left shows a patient expected to deteriorate, but the reality on the right shows a woman who built a technology company. From her recliner, she engineered an entire system to manufacture the sustained purpose that medical devices could not provide. Her trajectory demonstrates that purpose is a measurable operational variable that can significantly alter a patient's medical outcome. She formalized this into emotional technology. It runs on the Golden Method, a mental strength operating system containing over 40 specific tools. These tools form a bridge between the hospital and the home. This architecture replaces isolation with structured engagement through pillars like touch, connection, identity, and purpose. The touch and connection pillar utilizes the Golden Hug Protocol, a 20-second therapeutic embrace designed to physically lower cortisol and reset the nervous system. Daily identity practices are required to rebuild a woman's sense of self long before she has ever asked to log into a legacy platform. These protocols function as rigid, required daily operations, stabilizing the patient's mindset to support their physical survival. A user who arrives at a legacy platform after completing this emotional preparation is ready to engage. This flowchart shows the impact of that preparation. Steps 3 and 4 show how the emotional readiness layer ensures the preservation technology is actually utilized. Because this woman knows her story matters, she doesn't close the app, she starts recording, and she doesn't stop. This approach impacts the bottom line. Preventable readmissions drop, caregiver dropout rates decrease, and program completion rates rise. Emotional engagement represents a significant financial and medical driver that is currently missing from most healthcare and tech dashboards. The Golden Life community is inviting industry leaders to combine their clinical and preservation technology with this newly built emotional infrastructure. The first step is bringing Kathy in as Chief Emotional Technology Advisor to audit current systems and identify exactly where users are disengaging. Legacy platforms preserve the story, but the Golden Method prepares the woman to tell it. This solution was engineered from a recliner on oxygen. It is now ready to be scaled alongside billion-dollar technology.